Check that out, guys. I just made another practice cut with the 1/2 inch wide high-speed tool bit that I used the other day on the H13 tool steel, and so far so good. Look at that chip right there. That one, believe it or not, I dialed in whatever this is. I'm not exactly sure, but I dialed in a total depth of 20 thousandths, and that should have been that chip right there. Yeah, pretty sure it was that one, that guy right there. So there was a lot of guys that have recommended flipping this tool holder around. This is that big Armstrong number 42. It takes the 1/2 inch wide tools, and there's some guys that have more experience than me with a shaper, and was telling me that you should try flipping this around so that it puts the tool bit near the edge of the clapper box here, and that will make it less likely to try to dig in and tilt this ram down into the piece. Now there's all kinds of factors that go into play right here. You can't just blame just one thing. Okay, my grind may be off, but that's why I'm experimenting, is I got to figure out what the best grind is, but that also is affected by the material that you're cutting. So this is a block of 1018 cold rolled steel. That's just mild steel right there, so it's soft and gummy. So it should be easier to cut than that H13. But you can see I wasn't running very fast. I have to look. I think it was like 16 strokes. It still tries to discolor a little bit, you know, coming off there. But when you're doing slotting like this, I believe it's naturally you naturally have to run it slow so that you can control the hand wheel up on the top of this this tool head here to control your down feeds. All right, I'm going to make another cut so that you guys can see what it looks like and how the machine is, how it's handling and how it's talking to me. But I'm going to go over a couple other things before I start on it, because like one of the comments that I got over and over in that last video was, you need to lock the tool head, which it's always locked. I don't ever have it loose. It's snugged up so that it doesn't creep. That's what the lock is for. I'm going to show you that. I'm also going to show you how to adjust the gibs, because I made a very slight adjustment on the gib, on the top ramway gib, before I started this. Okay, so this is the lock that I had about 100 people tell me that I need to lock whenever I'm when I was doing my cuts. It is locked, and it was locked in the other video. There is something that pushes. There's not a screw that comes out, so they've got something that actually pushes against the tool slide here so that a screw is not digging into it. But you can see right there, so when this handle is pushed nearly straight up and down, you see it really takes some force. That's where I'm using it to try to make my down feeds while I'm cutting. So you can see that is locked. It is not loose. Loose would be right there. All right, so I just wanted to point that out. I'll leave that about straight up and down anytime I'm making cuts. This is the side of the shaper that you make your gib adjustment on. You've got 4 slotted screws here that you use to adjust the gib. It pushes the gib over. That's how you make up for any kind of wear or slack in the tool head here. So surprisingly, the 1 7/16 wrench that you use for the Armstrong tool holder doubles as a wrench for these right here. So I'll loosen one up to show you. You loosen those up, go all the way down the bar there, and then just take a screwdriver and you make the slightest adjustment on these things. You don't come over and crank on them. When I say slightest, I mean I barely seen that screw move, okay? And then I tighten them back up. I've done this once already off of camera, just when I'm out here trying to play around, figure the machine out, and I felt like that little bit of movement that I did on all 4 of those screws was actually too much, because I tried to slide position the ram and it was pretty snug. So I had to come back and I snugged them up. So when I was making all the heavy cuts, I might have loosened it up too much. So I came back over here and I made just the slightest tweak on these screws, and then tighten all these back down. And I'm just giving it torque just like that with the handle. I'm not putting anything extra, and I'm not bumping on it. So I'll continue to make small adjustments to this as I move forward, as I'm trying to reduce any kind of chatter in the cuts. All right, let's give you the practice session again on camera this time. This is my stroke speed right there. I need to look at that. Yeah, 16 strokes a minute. I don't have the tool exactly square. I didn't take that kind of time to make it perfectly square. You see right there. Alright, yeah, we're back on zero. It's where I started it from. So we're going to move down. That's 10 thousandths. It'll be a 10 thousandths cut. No bouncing, no, not a bunch of noise. Now that pop, I know people are going to think something's loose here. That pop is the energy that's being released out of this tool when it comes off this edge right there. It's naturally wanting to pop back out like that. There's a lot of pressure being pushed. That's a light cut right there. That was 4 thousandths. Another 4 thousandths. See? Not too bad, huh? And this is controllable, you know. I'm getting used to the clutch being right here and reaching up there with your right hand and adjusting it. So let's go ahead and all right, there's a 20 thou cut. Let's see what it looks like. They're all 20 thousandths cuts. And I'm comfortable with that right there. I'm not really sure what the normal is for guys that do this all day, cutting keyways inside something. I thought it was like, you know, between 2 and 5 thousandths that you would move the tool slide down. You see, doing good. I'm just gonna roll with it. Okay. See if I can get a little cleanup cut there. See if that'd give you a different angle to check it out at. So we got plenty of depth there. These are 10 thousandths cuts here. A little less severe, and that feels pretty good. Yeah, I kind of like that feel better. 5 thousandths on the dial, which actually is 10 thousandths total depth. Do a few more so you can see the hand wheel operation up here. By the way, let me point something out real quick. In one of my books, I believe it's the catalog, that G&E catalog, shows the same size machine, but instead of having this handle on it, they actually made a hand wheel that goes around it. So it kind of drops down. You got a ring that goes all the way around it. I think it had 3 connecting arms. You know, it just fit right down on the shaft here, so that you could actually, so you're not having to reach up here. You can actually reach lower while you're over here operating the machine and move a hand wheel. So that was an idea for something possibly later on. Feels good. This really feels good. It feels starting to feel a little bit more natural right there. So like I said, just you can do it on the backstroke because the tool's going to lift. So there you go, a little bit of the hand wheel operation. One more series of tests here. I'm going to try some different speeds. So we were at 16 and now I'm at 23. 23 and 28, so let's try those. Now we're starting to get somewhere. All right, we're going to kick it up. Be right back. Now we're at 28. It's still doing good. Let's go ahead and kick it up. Okay, that's 34 strokes a minute. It's handling it. You get too much faster than that, it's going to be hard to control the down feed up there, you know. But we're going to try. We're going to bump up one more time. All right, this is 41. It's kind of hard to keep up with the down feed with the tool slide moving that fast. Now we're starting to get some more blue chips there. That might have been the cutting oil. Let me see. It's doing good, especially with those lighter cuts there, actually. Yeah. We're still doing good there. That's about 5 thousandths on the down feed. I'm just kind of feeling it out. I'm not even watching the dial up here. Very nice. We're starting to get somewhere now. Curiosity got the best of me, and I had to try out this 1-inch wide tool, and look at that. So it's not 100% success, but it is working. You can see these chips right here. If I take very light cuts, you know, like 2 thousandths, it seems to be rolling a decent looking chip. If I try to take much more than that, it seems to try to bounce over this edge and then start making the cut there. So let me make a few passes and show you. And I'm running it slow too. That's just 2 thousandths on the dial. And now I've got that bump in there and it seems to be hitting it every time. It was doing pretty good there. See, to me that feels like slack in the gear train, or the like the crank arm and the connecting pin. What it seems like to me, but I don't know yet. Anyway, we were just playing with it. That was a decent cut there. There it goes. But that jumpiness whenever it touches, that's what's leading me to believe that there's some slack somewhere. Look at that. Man, that looked good right there. I'm gonna keep that up. No, it just jumped again. Alright, I'm gonna end it right there, but we do have some success with our 1-inch wide tool, just not the greatest success. So yesterday I received a really cool gift from a viewer named David Bates. He's from Ontario, Canada. And in the box was this new old stock shaper / planer tool. And this is a spring tool. And this is the kind of tool that you would typically find in such as a planer, but they can be used in a shaper as well. And this is the style tool. It's called a spring tool. Some people call them a gooseneck tool. And the way that these tools are designed is that it puts the cutting edge to the rear of the shank of the tool there, so that as the bending forces are applied to this tool, it lifts up out of the cut to eliminate chatter, or helps to eliminate chatter. So I'm very excited to get this. I've never had one of these tools before, especially nothing this big. It's actually the proper shank size for the shaper here. So it has never been used before. I believe that this is a factory made grind. You can see the forging right there. It looks like maybe where they ground it before they finished the heat treating of it, I assume. And then they touched it up on the grinder. This is a 1-inch cut. I did mic it with the calipers, and it's 972 on the width right there, but I believe that would be considered a 1-inch wide cutter. So this is an Edgar Allan, let me just read what it says. Edgar Allan and Company Limited, Sheffield, England. So it's made over in England. And it's really hard to make out what type of tool it is, but I believe it says Stag Major Super Weld, number 52. I got a picture of it that I'll throw up on the screen so that you guys can see it for yourself. Somebody may know a little bit more about these than I do. We're going to put it in the shaper, and I'm going to make a test cut with it. I did try it last night, make a few passes, and I had some pretty good success with it. But I'm going to put it back in here, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. Matter of fact, you can see right there where I tightened it down. And that's the only spot on this tool that has ever been pushed on right there. So I believe, as David said, this is never been used before. We're going to go ahead and try it. All right, let's go ahead and start our cut again. That was where I was cutting it last night, and it seemed to be doing pretty good. Now, it's still not perfect, but it is working. bad. Those are approximately, I'd say, 6 to 8 thousandths on depth of cut. I'm not really keeping up with the exact down feed, but it's doing better with a little bit of heavier down feed versus just trying to take 2 or 3 thou. What I've noticed that it tries to do, if you take just a little bit, and this is what I'm seeing, the tool is hitting the edge and it's kind of pushing and bouncing, and it's almost like it wants to bounce up. And then once it gets up, it's not down on the plane of the cut. So you'll be cutting a little lower here than up here. That's just something that I'm observing and I'm kind of learning about. Make a few more cuts here. That was 6 thousandths. That was 8. 8 seems to be really good. All right, here's 10. A little more extreme. 8 seems to be doing really good there. All right. Well, David, you got a really nice tool there that you sent me, and I really appreciate it. I think it's going to go well with the shaper here, and I really look forward to continuing to learn how to make these cuts properly on this machine and get all of the little minor bugs worked out of this. But this kind of tool right here, this spring tool, I've seen on quite a few videos on Instagram. There's a guy over in Japan that's on Instagram, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's like Diatra, something like that. Starts with a D. But he runs a large planer, and he uses this exact type of tool in that, and he makes the most beautiful, mesmerizing cuts on that machine. So that wide of a tool right there is not necessarily used for cutting a 1-inch wide slot like I'm doing. This is just a practice, but I see him use this kind of tool on an angle he's going down on the corner of a piece of steel all the way down this length, cutting an angle or a bevel on the side of a piece of steel. So there's a number of things that tool could be used for right there, not just doing what we're doing here. All right, so I'm going to continue playing with this. I'm actually kind of getting antsy and excited about taking this tool head apart and going into that and seeing if I can figure out how to reduce any of this slack that's in the screw, the backlash there, and start doing a little bit more of the maintenance on the machine here. All right.